Hi there, my name's Ariel and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a zero-based budgeter and I use the cash envelope stuffing system. Right now, my two goals are paying down debt and trying to save up for a new bed. If any of that interests you, feel free to subscribe and let's get into the video. Okay, this video I mentioned was going to be my next video in my last video where I did an April breakdown because my numbers were so different than my March numbers, and there is a whole reason behind it, and I'm going to talk about that today. I'm actually going to talk about that in the form of a debt confession. As I mentioned in my intros, my goals for 2023 are paying down debt and saving up for a new bed. I'm saving up for a new bed through doing the 100 envelope challenge, and then paying off debt is just a really critical goal. So I'm gonna be honest, I have only ever seen a couple of these and I don't really know how they're supposed to be structured, so just bear with me as I'm, I guess, going through my timeline and my story of my debt, and then we'll get to the numbers and then like where I'm at today, basically. My first debt. Technically, my first debt was my student loans, and then my second debt was my car loan. Around the time of buying my car is when I got really into figuring out how to build credit and what a credit score really means. So to start off with, I took personal finance in high school. It wasn't a requirement for my grades. I know it's a requirement now in our state for everyone to take personal finance, but back in the day it was not. I knew it was something that was important, so I knew I needed to take the class. Numbers have always interested me. Math was my best subject growing up. English was not. I mean, that kind of really trailed into budgeting as well because I love numbers. I love figuring out numbers. Math to me was just solving a puzzle. And so I always loved math. I still clearly love math. Personal finance was also a big deal to me because my parents told us growing up that we always just didn't have enough money. I don't really remember if like we were ever in debt. I know that my parents had credit cards. I didn't know how much like debt looked like on those or anything like that because I wasn't, obviously as a kid, wasn't involved. I just knew that my mom always taught us to buy from sales racks. I don't know, just kind of things here and there where for me as a kid, it really clicked on me how important personal finance was going to be and how critical it was going to be growing up. So my car was my second debt. My third debt ever was my Discover credit card. So I got that back in 2018. So at the time I was 23, I had been working at my job full time for over a year at this point, making decent money because I did graduate with a network engineering degree, so I was working as a network technician. I felt like my life was like really together and I wanted to continue to work on my credit score because it was so important. My payments for my car were already 100% on time. My payments for my student loans were 100% on time. I opened my credit card in October of 2018 and I actually next to immediately started using it the wrong way, which is really funny because I knew the correct way to like use it. And I told myself that's how I was going to use it. I just didn't actually start off doing it that way. And I'll tell you why. I don't want to say it's not a legitimate reason, but so I got that in October. On September 4th of 2018, me and my first boyfriend started dating. And it was my very first boyfriend that I knew we were going to be serious. So serious that I'm still dating him. So yeah, I waited till I was 23 to actually really date a guy. Broke my heart in high school, like sophomore year. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on my studies. And then college, another guy my freshman year kind of broke my heart. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna focus on my studies. So definitely waited till I was done with college in order to like really date. So I wanted to really impress this guy. I was just the caring, giving kind of girlfriend because I love surprising people and gifting people things. I also realized that I could kind of do some home decor with it. And the only rule I was told was pay off the balance by the end of the month. But that's basically what I was taught when it came to credit cards. But the end of the month came around and I did not have the money to be able to pay that off. And so my habit got really bad really quick in the sense where that first Christmas that I had with my boyfriend in 2018, I spent $4,000 on Christmas alone. I will also say that this credit card, I opened up my first credit card the age of 23 and was immediately offered a credit card with a limit of $9,000. That's a lot. I was also never told that you could actually set it. So like, just a little tip for you guys, in case you guys are new to credit cards or like, just want to know this, you can actually tell them that the limit's too high and you want it lowered, which would have been great for me to have known then, because the second that I saw that I was approved for $9,000, I knew it was too much for me. Like in that moment, it's like, this is a lot. That's not what I was expecting to be responsible with. So if I could go back in time and tell my 23-year-old self to like lower that line, I actually probably would. I know that it helps when you use your credit card with credit utilization, but that was too much for a 23-year-old new to credit cards to be responsible for. And it definitely showed. So I had gotten to the point already within 2 months of accruing probably like around $6,000. And so at this point, all I really knew about financing and budgeting was make sure you had enough for your bills. So with growing up being told that like we never had money, it made it so that when I turned 16 and got my first job, I blew all of my money. I didn't know how to save. I just knew that I never did have money. Like we never really had too much money for me to go do things. And so suddenly now I did, and I could go hang out with friends. I could eat all the food that like I didn't get to eat before, and like kind of so on. So I wasn't responsible with my money. So that also trailed into, I realized that trailed into my whole credit card usage, was that it was one of the things where it's like, okay, it's fine. Like I'll swipe and then I'll catch up because I can. Then I also bought myself some new bedroom furniture. Like I bought my first desk. I made my first like IKEA purchase and I was so excited. Then in 2019, we moved from one apartment to another, put it all on the credit card. 2019 is also when my boyfriend ended up moving in with me. So it was me, my roommate, and my boyfriend, all three of us living together. So in 2019, I was introduced to Dave Ramsey by my roommate and introduced to his baby step system, which immediately clicked for me. I actually found that I understood it really, really well, that it made sense in my head why the system would work, and I started utilizing it like immediately. My roommate even let me borrow like all of her stuff for it. She let me look at the different classes because she bought into it through her church, I think, and so she like let me log into it, watch all the different videos. She even let me buy the little like cheap envelope system that you can buy from them. And so I started using all of that. So I was talking to a friend about it one day, and I told her that my biggest concern with the whole thing was the credit card situation, because I still had it. I didn't know how to necessarily keep myself from using it. Like my fear was always the what if. So like, if I swipe my debit card right now, or if I use this cash now, what if I don't have enough for a future purchase? So then I would just use my credit card. I also had this horrible habit of swiping my debit cards too much, and to the point where it caused me anxiety to look at my bank account so that I wouldn't. So then it was one of those things where I would swipe, and then it would eventually decline. And then when it would decline, I just would pull out the credit card, because that what if happened. It wasn't me managing my money. It was me crossing my fingers that I still had money. And so she explained to me that in her relationship that she's the spender. So she understood like what I was saying and what I was talking about. So she told me that her and her husband, since she's the spender, they decided that together they would lock up the credit cards in a safe. And it's actually, there's another safe within it. So she has the code to one safe, and then he has the code to the other safe. So I was like, wait, no, that could actually work. My boyfriend had just applied for his first credit card, and so I wanted to make sure that my habits wouldn't rub off on him. So I talked to him about it. I said, I do want to have one recurring fee so that your card was being used, but you would pay it off each month, because that's kind of the good habits that you would use for a credit card. So like, I knew the habits, I just didn't use them. I told him, I was like, we're gonna go ahead and, if you're down with this, like, let's go ahead and use this, I guess, method that my friend just told me about. And so ever since then, I call it the safe within the safe method. It's something that I've, I guess, kind of branded. I don't know. She like really inspired me about it. And so we started using it. It actually worked out really well, to the point of 2019 being my best ever like budgeting year of my life. I had the highest emergency fund that I'd ever had. My credit card was being paid off. I was also still making all my student loan payments. Like everything was working out so well, and I was so proud of myself. And so 2020 rolled in. I had even paid for this whole trip for Cancun in February, and like I was just feeling high on my budgeting life until the pandemic happened. because along with the pandemic came a coin shortage. And so with that coin shortage, I was forced back into my old habits. I did the same exact thing where I swiped, and it wasn't good. It actually got to the point where I even found a loophole of the safe within the safe method. If you're gonna try this method, like, I would make sure that you guys dig deep into where all that information might lie. Because I realized when the pandemic happened and I was getting bored because we were in our apartment all day and we wanted to redecorate suddenly, that my credit card information was still saved onto Amazon. I hadn't thought about that until that point. Then when we decided to buy new furniture during the pandemic, it came off my credit card because it was saved on Amazon. And then later I realized, oh wait, I also have it saved within my browser. So yeah, I found some loopholes and I used them. So I went ahead and bought some new furniture, went halfsies with my roommate, and it all went on the credit card. So more credit card, the stuff that I had paid off was now put back on. And that was just out of pure boredom. And so I actually, because of the pandemic and everything, when places started taking cash again, I didn't just fall back into my cash envelope stuffing and zero-based budgeting. I actually kind of forgot that it existed. And so me and my boyfriend ended up moving into our own place in 2021. And when that happened, all of the different fees and everything like that put on my credit card. My roommate paid me the other half of the furniture after we split the cost. And so she gave me all of that and then she kept the furniture. So the thing that I was most proud of with this move was actually we decided to go ahead and I suggested to my boyfriend that we open up a second line of credit for him because he was already doing so good with his first credit card because we just locked it up. And he didn't have any loopholes because he hadn't really used it outside of one reoccurring bill each month. I suggested to him, let's go ahead, open up a second line of credit and we'll put all the furniture on there. And so that's what we did with the furniture store. We ended up opening up a second line of credit and he got another credit card, a store credit card, and we put all of the furniture on it. And so luckily he's been doing great at paying that off, and we split the amount too. So I actually already paid off my half of all that furniture pretty quickly. I think it took me like 3 paychecks to pay my portion off fully. So my half was already paid off, and then he's still been working on it, which is fine because it's been helping towards his credit score, which if you guys did not see, he sent me a screenshot of it just the other day, and this is his credit score. Like, how awesome is that? I'm so proud of him, and I can go on a whole spiel about how proud of I am of him and his credit score and just being a stronger person than I was. So even with moving into our new apartment, I was still in my bad habit phase of like just kind of swipey until my anxiety spiked, and then when I had no money because I wasn't looking at my bank account, the credit card, or even I would have my boyfriend cover it and be like, I'll pay you back once I get paid, you know, on so-and-so day. So 2021, we've been in our apartment for a good amount of time, a little over 6 months, and I'm still in my bad habits and everything. And I think March of 2021, I ran into Plan Budget Dream and I followed her because her videos were so relaxing, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I forgot that this is a real system. Like I totally forgot about this. So she actually really inspired me to start back up with cash budgeting. I didn't start immediately though because of the fact that I was just trying to, I don't know, I was just in my groove. So after following her, I think it was like a month later, that's when I actually started doing the cash envelope system again. I'd even bought some of her envelopes to help start, and I bought like a brand new wallet for myself and like this, that, and another to like get me excited about what I was doing. So I started doing that and I was doing pretty good. And then mid-May, my boyfriend ended up losing his job. We weren't expecting that to happen at all. There was no really signs that it was going to happen, and it just kind of happened. And we'd already kind of been in mid-discussion of like, are we going to sign our lease again? And like we had made this kind of joking comment about possibly moving in with my parents because it was just getting too expensive with the economy and stuff, but it really was more of a joke. Like we were planning on signing the lease one more time, like 98% sure we were gonna sign the lease until that happened. And then suddenly like we had to make this quick decision, like, are we actually about to move in with your parents? Because now we're short one income. I was mad at myself because I should have been able to hold us off until he got a new job, but I couldn't because my debt to income ratio wasn't good enough. My credit card at this point was at $18,000 of it being used out of like $24,000. So they increased my credit a lot. because they do it every time I pay off a big chunk of my credit due. Like suddenly they're like, oh, she paid off 1,000, like time to bump up the credit line because she's trying to make good habits. And it's kind of silly to me. So here we were, I'm $18,000 in debt. He's without a job. I can't pay for it. So the only move we really could have made was either us suffer, you know, for a good minute, or move into my parents' house and make rational decisions. Rational as in being, I would pay off my debt and he would start saving. I was so anxious, literally so anxious at that point. I didn't quite know what I was doing because we had to make really quick decisions really fast. Like if we were moving into my parents' house, we were gonna have to figure out how to get a storage unit. I'd never done that before. We were gonna have to figure out how to get movers. I'd never done that before. And like all these new things that I'd just never done before. And all of it went onto the credit card. So here we are today. I am still living at my parents' house. We've been here since June of last year. And I mean, obviously now it's April. So we've been here for almost a year. I have been working towards paying off my credit card. Still not in the way that I had hoped I would. I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? I need to buckle down. Like I need to actually get this taken care of. So I have paid off some. I think the highest number I ever saw was $24,000. My credit card line right now is at $29,000. And so I made a couple moves that were there to help benefit me thus far. So the first thing I did was I had never heard of a transfer card. So there is such things as transfer cards, and what it is you can transfer a certain amount from a credit card onto this card, usually with the different offers. It could be really low interest for X amount of months, or 0% interest for X amount of months. And so I actually found one that I really liked. It had really good numbers to it. So I got a Citi credit card, which I'm actually now having difficulties with, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And so I opened that up in December and then immediately transferred over, I think it's $3,200 from my credit card over to that. And so right now, let me look at the numbers. So right now I'm at about $2,200 with credit card debt still. I opened up a transfer credit card. I've been kind of paying down. I've been kind of still swipey as well. And so I'm at the point where I don't need to be swipey. Like I don't need to use my credit card. I have an income. Like all I really need to be doing is just paying down credit. The biggest thing was I would put down like $1,000 towards my credit card, and then half of it would come back because of interest, because my credit card amount is that much. And I only have, like, besides the new transfer card that I just got, that other credit card, the first one's the only other one I have. So I didn't open up like a bunch of little credit cards. I just have the one, and they just keep bumping up the line. So I had been trying to look for different things I could do. And so yeah, one of the things was suggesting opening up a transfer card, which I did. The issue is that I didn't realize that the card that I opened up was actually just a normal credit card. It just also has really good transfer card numbers. You can only use the transfer option when you have an offer on your card. And for the past 2 months, I haven't had an offer on my card to be able to transfer balance. And so now what my strategy is no longer actually working in my favor. So there's a chance I might get the ability to balance transfer on the 20th of April, but I don't even know then if I'm guaranteed that. So I was like, okay, so I need to go to my Discover credit card. Like I need to call Discover and figure this out. Like how do we get down the interest? Like, cause this needs to happen. And so I called them and I said, hey, I've been with you guys for a while, for a couple years. I've actually been 100% like on time with my payments. Is there a way you guys can go ahead and lower my credit score? I'm really trying to work on paying off my card. And so she looked at my account and she said, actually, we have 2 different offers and they're both for kind of rebuilding and stuff like that. And she said, the first one is a 1 year for $16.99, the APR you would have. And the thing is that it would lock out your credit card for a whole year. So for a whole year, you can't use your credit card. She said the second offer is for 6 months for 9.99%. And again, like you still can't use your credit card. I have decided, I actually enrolled in it yesterday, that I'm going to do the six months one because it's short term, it's 9.99%. And if I were to just kind of go and like put most of my money towards it, mathematically wise, I could probably pay off $18,000 in the next 6 months. That is kind of the strategy I'm going with right now. So all my numbers are different. My budget's really strict. And I'm just gonna have to buckle down and adult and be responsible and take responsibility for my past actions to really work on myself, my credit card, my debt, everything. And so it's gonna be really challenging. I'm actually quite excited. Like I'm nervous, but like really excited for the challenge, really excited to see that number go down. So I just got paid yesterday and I already have my first payment about budgeted, and it's about $1,000. So that's really exciting that I can put that towards that. Right now, I'm not doing much with my Citi card until I'm able to do the transfer stuff again, but also a little tidbit, if you do get a transfer card, I did find that when you do a transfer balance, it does, like your credit card counts that as a payment onto your credit card. So I would pay the Citi amount and then I would do a transfer from the Discover, and that transfer counted as my Discover card payment for the month. That's also a neat little trickaroo. And so I've done that for a while, and I hope to do that again once I get another offer. Once I hit the 6 months with Citi, I'm also gonna see if I can get a credit limit increase. Because it's usually suggested that not to ask for one until you get about 6 months to 9 months-ish. And since I only have a short amount of time to do things, I'm gonna try it at the 6 months and see if we can do that. So I think that's pretty much my debt confession. I felt really scattered saying all that. But yeah, I think that was a pretty good explanation. Hopefully that was what most debt confessions look like. I'm gonna see if I can actually make a visual timeline of it all and post it on Instagram, because I feel like visuals help. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I'm actually so excited about this step that I've decided to make with my Discover card. I think it was the right decision. Because I feel really so good about it. We have locked up my credit card in the safe again. I've actually removed it from Amazon and my browser information, so all of that's gone. I can't find any more loopholes if I literally have nowhere else to look. I don't have a picture of it. I don't have the card numbers memorized. And so I think this is actually the point in time in which I'm going to be able to successfully do this without outsmarting myself. So yeah, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this debt confession. If you guys did, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!